Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're actually going to be starting in about 2 minutes to just let a few more people filter in. So I will check in with you in about 2 minutes. Okay, hello everybody and good afternoon. I know a few people are still starting to filter in, but we are going to get started. So welcome to today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about gearing up for the holidays, and it's going to be a webinar hosted by our friends at Google for Nonprofits. We are really excited to continue our Google series. If you've attended a few of our Google webinars in the past, we've been able to connect people with tons of great resources to really level up their fundraising. And now is the perfect time to continue that journey as we look at the end of year and the holidays and Giving Tuesday and all of those really fun stuff. So before we get started, we did want to do a quick land acknowledgement. So our team at Canada Helps is grateful to have the opportunity to meet and work on the Indigenous homelands across this land that we share in Canada. As settlers on these lands, it is important to acknowledge that our Vancouver offices are located on the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people. The Montreal offices are located on the Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk territory. And the land on which we operate in Toronto is traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We want to express our respect for the territories that we reside in and honor the diverse Indigenous people who have lived and worked on this land historically and presently. We, the staff and leadership at Canada Helps, are committed to being active participants in reconciliation. We are committed to continuing to amplify Indigenous voices and learning how our work affects Indigenous people. Now, if this is the first time that you are joining us at Canada Helps, thank you so much for being here. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you very much. So if this is the first time you're joining us, we are so happy to have you. A little bit about us. For charities, Canada Helps build effective tools and affordable fundraising technology and provides free training just like this so that charities of all sizes can increase their capacity to make an impact. And for Canadians and donors all across Canada, CanadaHelps.org is a convenient, safe, and trusted one-stop destination for donating to either through one-time gifts, monthly gifts, gifts of securities, gifts of crypto, fundraising for, or learning about any charity in Canada. So it is a go-to trusted spot. Now, a few housekeeping items before we get started. If you are having trouble hearing us, a few things that you could try. One, obviously, to turn up your computer's volume. But if that doesn't work, you can go to the sound check under the audio in the GoToWebinar panel that you all have. You can select the speaker tab and then turn the volume all the way to the far right to the max until you can hear us. Next slide. For the best webinar experience, we ask that you close all other applications. Not only is this going to help with the performance of the actual webinar, but it just helps with distractions. And before we get this question, because we always do, yes, you absolutely will get links to the content, the webinar slides, and the recording will be emailed out to you within 24 hours, so you'll be able to watch the recording on demand. And finally, you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So if you do have any questions, type them into the questions log at any time. We'll be monitoring those, and then we do have a section for Q&A at the end of this webinar where we'll be able to answer a bunch of them for you. And for those that we don't get to, we'll be able to just kind of answer them afterwards in an email. Okay, with that said, I will pass over the reins to the Google for Nonprofits team. So over to you, Ben and Corey.
Awesome, thank you, Phil. Appreciate the intro. Before I go into any kind of the Google content, I do want to just thank the whole team at Canada Helps again for partnering with us on this webinar series. This is our 4th in the series, and it's great to be able to come and bring some of the Google tools to the nonprofit community across Canada. So with that, I'll jump into intros. My name is Ben Wise. I've been at Google for about 11 years in the ads team. My technical title is the head of programmatic media, but I also have the great pleasure of working with our Google for Nonprofits group as one of the local leads in Canada. And so that's what brings me here today. And I'll pass it over to Corey to introduce himself.
Thanks, Ben. Hi, everyone. I'm Corey. I'm currently an insights lead here at Google, where my job is really to be the voice of the consumer. For the past 4 years, I've been working with the top retailers on their marketing strategies. And then prior to that, I led the marketing of a Canada-based startup that specializes in personalized online jewelry. And I tell you this because I've seen firsthand over the years how a business can grow on the back of paid advertising solutions like Google and others, which makes me even more excited and optimistic to be talking to you all today about the tools that we have with people that can make a difference in the world. So really excited. Thank you all for having us.
Thanks, Corey. So the plan for today, kind of already checked through the start here. So we've gone through introductions. I'm going to kind of give everybody a bit of a background on the Google for Nonprofits program, tell you a little bit more what kind of things are offered and what you might be able to take advantage of. I'll try to do that in 5 minutes, and then I'll pass it back to Corey, who's going to walk you through a bunch of tools and insights to help all of you make the most out of the holiday season. Just like on the business side for us, we know this is, in many cases, the busiest time of year for many of you, so making sure that you are set up for success. Now, a bit of background on the Google for Nonprofits program, and I don't need to explain this sentence to anybody on this call, but at Google, we very much recognize the important role that nonprofits play in improving the lives of people all around the world, and especially here in Canada. I think that running a nonprofit, Corey, if you jump to the next slide, please, really brings with it a set of unique challenges. You know, nonprofits run the gamut from very large multinational organizations to small, entirely volunteer-run groups, and everything in between. And with that, there will be a bunch of different things that you need to kind of figure out how to do, whether it's managing your volunteers, how do you raise money, how do you organize and collaborate across the entire group that you're working with, how do you reach your stakeholders, not just donors, but people you want to reach to provide support, and build the awareness around the cause and around your organization. And I think it's because of the understanding of some of these challenges, if we jump to the next slide, is why Google, you can build through those and right to the next slide, thanks, is why Google launched the Google for Nonprofits program now over a decade ago. And the mission here is really to help empower nonprofits to focus on their mission and the people and causes that you are all committed to helping by bringing some of the kind of the technology and expertise that Google has to make it as easy as possible for you to use them. So if you go to the next slide. Since then, since 2011, when we launched the program, we've expanded massively across the globe. We currently work with over 350,000 nonprofits spreading out over close to 70 different countries. So the footprint of the program is massive. And if you go to the next slide. Some of the, I just want to take a minute here to walk through some of the key elements of the Google for Nonprofits program. Many of you I know are already using some of these services, but I'll walk through a few of them. And if you're not, I do strongly encourage you to look into signing up for those. And if you go back in the webinar history with Canada Helps, some of the ones that we've done are kind of using some of these tools. So the first one here is Google Workspace for Nonprofits. Workspace is all of the things that are like, you know, Gmail and Google Documents and Calendar and all of those that you can get at a discounted rate when you're a nonprofit. The next one is called Google Ad Grants. And essentially any charity, any registered charity in Canada can get up to $10,000 a month in free money to spend on Google Ads to help run ad campaigns for your charity. The next one is a YouTube for Nonprofit program. YouTube obviously being the biggest video platform in the world, and there's a number of options that can help you kind of build out your offerings and build your awareness of your organization on YouTube. And the last one is on Google Maps. So a lot of nonprofits or charities we know will have Google Earth and Google Maps integrations that we can help with or provide discounts on some of the enterprise-related fees there that may be involved. I think across Canada, and probably for this group, the most common ones are going to be those first two, Google Workspace and ad grants. And as I said, I encourage you to go back into the kind of history of the Canada Helps webinars that we've partnered on, because we've done a number on both of those products. So for the next slide. So with that, I will pass it over to Corey, who will be kind of leading for most of this. You'll notice he's in a much nicer presentation room at the office today because he gets to do most of the presenting. So with that, I'll pass it over to him.
Thanks, Ben. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to talk through today the most generous time of the year, which is holiday that we're going into now. The lens I bring that you'll see throughout the presentation today, one, there are learnings from retail. Retailers do a lot of testing, a lot of experimenting to make their money go as far as possible. And we know how important that is, especially for nonprofits. Make sure every dollar you spend in marketing is going as far as possible. So you'll see a lot of retail examples today. And the second lens I add through here is a consumer lens. So a lot of consumer data, how they're searching, how they're coming to YouTube, what they're watching. So and it's kind of teeing us up to the most generous season of the year. But really, this is kind of where I want to start, because this is the cover of the latest Harvard Business Review. And a lot of retailers and businesses, and I'm sure yourselves, nonprofits, feel the same way, where through the immense uncertainty we've had over the last few years, it kind of hasn't yet to stop. We're still in a time of uncertainty, especially with the economy right now. So the headline is buckle up for uncertain times. So if you're feeling this, don't worry, you're not alone. There's a lot of economic headwinds and tailwinds, and we're going to kind of dive into them a little bit deeper today. But the biggest thing I kind of want to point out here is that, the uncertainty isn't new. I'm sure you've heard someone, another Googler maybe, or another webinar say times of uncertainty over the last 3-4 years. It's not new. We actually have gotten pretty good at adjusting to uncertainty and rethinking. One example that comes to mind when I think about that is, a journey with COVID. Take my own journey with COVID through my Instagram timeline that you're seeing here. We started off with, it's not a here problem. Then we started with, we got to wash our hands, but masks are only for healthcare professionals. Then we moved to masks are essential and vaccines, et cetera. You know how the story goes. But we did a really great job here of rethinking based on new information and new data. And that's kind of the same mindset that retailers are taking now, and I think we should also adopt when we're thinking about our strategy this year. And I want to start with rethinking mindset. And the mindset I kind of want to rethink is pessimism. Don't presume pessimism. For every challenging headline about the economy there is right now, we also know that Canadians have saved a lot over the pandemic. And they're really buoyed by a post-pandemic jubilation of celebration with family. They're getting out more than ever, and they've never saved more. Across the board, balance sheets are in good shape, businesses are successful coping with inflation, and deposits are 14% higher than pre-pandemic. This is kind of, we're calling it an adjustment period. Scotiabank called it an adjustment period, and we definitely agree. Here's what Canadians see. The headlines on the left that indicate slow momentum, and the headlines on the right, which provide a much more positive outlook. There's a lot, again, in the economy, we see a lot of people are hesitant and unsure, but at the same time, they have so much, they've never been spending more, and they have a lot of savings. So what we like to do here at Google is look into our own data that we think is some of the best in terms of what people come in and search on Google. So this is just the search growth over the past 90 days, just 90 days. And we're seeing a tremendous search growth in things like furniture, premium goods, better skiing outfits. So really what we're showing here is this is an adjustment period. And if it's an adjustment period for customers and Canadians, it's also should be an adjustment period for us as nonprofits and marketers. Okay, so now you may wonder, why would we focus on marketing right now in times of uncertainty like this? And what we've seen in studies over years of major economic changes is that doubling down on your marketing spend is a basic recession strategy. We've seen organizations do this a few times over. I have a quote here from a community boost posting on how to recession-proof for nonprofits, which kind of doubles down on this fact that if we're not there, someone else is. Keep in mind that if we're not top of mind, we're not there to someone else could be. And we've proven this time and time again on retail. We have lots of great data, even how Coke versus Pepsi handles a recession. It's really important to be there for your customers, especially be there for the people that we're serving at the end of the day as nonprofits. It's even more important. So today, with that, we're going to go into the 3 holiday giving secrets that we've kind of seen throughout the data and what we can do about them. So 3 things we've seen. 1, loyalty is up for grabs. 2, video is king. And 3, the time to give is now. So we'll dive in first to loyalty is up for grabs. And the good news is Canadians are coming to Google and coming online and looking to give back. So we see there's 100% year-over-year increases in searches globally for volunteered hours opportunities near me, 90% increase in how can I help, and 30% increase in donations. So people are certainly still looking to give back, and they're coming to Google to kind of get that information. And despite the uncertainty, consumers are still planning to donate to nonprofit organizations. So this is a very recent survey we just ran. Nearly 1 in 3 Canadian consumers say they will donate this year to a cause, which is great. 51% saying they would donate the same as last year, and 14% saying actually that they would donate more. So this is great. We know that people are still planning to donate despite uncertainty, and we know that there's lots of searches and demand for people coming and looking for how to give back. But one thing that we're seeing today more than ever as well is that donation searches are becoming more and more generic. And I'll explain what that means. When we break down kind of any search that someone can come to Google and search for, how to give back or charities near me or anything to that effect, that's kind of bucketed as a generic search. Whereas if they're going to search a specific charity to give back to, let's just call it Best Buddies as an example, a place close to my heart that I volunteered at, that would be a more branded search. So what we're seeing here on this slide is year-over-year increases, a change in the searches in the charity space or nonprofit space that are generic versus brand. And you can see generics really leading the way. This is actually also, to side note, not just a nonprofit thing. We're seeing this across retail, across consumer packaged goods. People are less loyal than ever before, and they're more open than ever before, which is a side effect of the pandemic as well. In fact, 15% of searches are new every single day on Google. So making sure that we're keeping up with what people are searching for and making sure that we have a program that's open enough to allow these people to find us is super important. It's something we're going to talk about. The first place that I always advise retailers and other companies, marketers to start with is to put themselves in the minds of who they're looking to target. So their customers, their donors, whoever it may be, take their mindset and come to Google and search for what you would hope they search for or what they may search for. And if you're not showing up, it's possible that that's a great opportunity to rethink, should we be showing up for that search? If you are showing up, that's fantastic. It's then time to start thinking about, is that the right person that you want to have find you and click on your website? So it's all about really the inputs and the outputs. So what do we want someone to do when visiting your website is something really that we need to think about, especially in that journey. So even if they found you, what do we want them to do on that website? So this is a typical search journey here. A user completes a search, views your ad, clicks on your ad, arrives at your website, and then oftentimes this could be where we kind of let off and they're on their own. But something that I want to share with you that retailers are finding really helpful, and I would recommend for anyone who's active on a search program with Google or any other Facebook, anyone, is to leverage things like automated bidding. So this is a stat of retailers, 80% of them are using automated bidding. I tell you this because, again, retailers test a lot, and they will only do what's driving the most bang for their buck. And I know how important that is for nonprofits. And really, all this is about your inputs. So to break this down a little bit more, a automated bidding, all it's telling you is it's a thing labeler. It's basically going to say, I like this behavior, and I'm going to go out and get more of that behavior for you. So if you're thinking about a retailer, that's usually a purchase. So if someone purchases a computer on bestbuy.ca, that's a signal to the machine that's going to go back and say, I want more people like that. And maybe it's people that fall into a certain affinity audience, that they're avid business travelers, for example, or maybe it's the time of day that they're coming. There's millions and millions of signals that automation takes into account, but oftentimes we get stuck on thinking of automation and advanced strategies like that as a retailer thing, but it really isn't. It can be whatever you want it to be. And we've outlined some examples here of possible potential online goals that you have. Maybe it's education. Maybe you want them to take a quiz or complete a course. Maybe it's engagement. You want them to fill out a survey. Maybe it's signing up for an event. Maybe it's volunteering, or maybe it is actually donating or purchasing a ticket. These can all be, we call them conversion goals, but these can all be goals that is fed into our thing labeler or machine learning to get you the most bang for your buck. And you can really think about it, like take liberty in thinking about how you want to bucket your goals here. It can be you have different goals for different parts of your businesses. So you have campaigns focused on education versus health and wellness, for example. So this is all well and good, but how do you do that? We have a great tool here. It's a free tool called Google Analytics that lets you track your website and integrates with your ads. Without tracking, all you can really tell is your campaign is reaching someone somewhere and the amount of clicks you have, but that doesn't really give you actionable information. So with tracking, you can understand campaign effectiveness, such as which ads get someone to take action, which pages on your site people spend time reading on, which visitors or type of visitors sign up to your newsletter, etc. This is kind of where you can really start to, one, easily get more dollar bang for your buck with automation, but also start to learn more about your consumers or your donors, which is such a great +1 of having, or gravy on top of having a paid marketing strategy. Okay, so that's one. Loyalty is up for grabs. People are coming to Google, they're searching for nonprofits and opportunities to donate. Make sure you're there. If you're not, evaluate why, if you should be there, and leverage things like automated bidding, if you can, to give your our machine learning signals to use. And again, the signals can be whatever is important to you. Okay, the second thing I want to chat through today is video is king. And to illustrate this, I want to play this, hopefully this works, playing this little clip of an ad you may remember.
Hi, I'm Sarah McLaughlin. Will you be an angel?
Okay, I'll pause it there because I don't want us all to cry, or I don't want you to see me cry more accurately. This is a great ad, obviously. It worked really well. It evoked a lot of emotion. And there's a reason why, and we call it the Sarah McLaughlin effect. And it's showing versus telling. So this slide here you see in front of you says the exact same thing that commercial or the video that we saw said. But it doesn't evoke the same emotion. Video is really where we're seeing that Canadians and globally, that's where people are evoking the strongest emotion. And you can say a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 10x that. And when we're talking about video, obviously we have to talk about YouTube. 16 million Canadians now have YouTube as their main screen at home and are watching it in their living rooms. We've seen watch time increase by 34% year on year. And those numbers are huge, especially for holiday. The breadth and depth of content that's on YouTube is amazing, from shopping hauls to detailed product reviews to comparisons, creators and influencers, etc. It's been a massive shift. YouTube was already huge, but during COVID, it's really accelerated, where everyone's coming to YouTube and for inspiration and action. And Canadians need inspiration. When Canadians want to be inspired, they want new ideas, they want help choosing, or they want to connect with family and friends over their favorite holiday content, they turn to YouTube. Canadians actually more so than others. Canadians per capita watch time of holiday content is actually 3.8 times higher than Americans and 1.5 times higher than Brits. And 59% of that content is watched on a connected TV. But YouTube is not just important to get you into the holiday spirits, it's also an important part of the holiday shopping experience. It's where Canadians go to get inspired, inform their shopping choices. So if they're there, we should also probably be there. And we know that 93% of consumers say video is helpful when purchasing a product. I don't have that stat on helpfulness on for donations and nonprofits, but with 93% using YouTube to purchase a product, the chances are that they'd also want to come and research their donation information on YouTube as well. It's really an incredible mix. There's nothing you can't find on YouTube. I probably don't have to tell you that. I'm sure we're all avid YouTube users. Okay. And we know that if you aren't on YouTube, then there is a very real chance that your competitors or someone else is there to inspire prospects and capture their intention. So it's critical to be on YouTube to make sure that we are being seen. And again, with monthly reach of over 16 million Canadians on YouTube connected TV, the big screen is actually much more doable than it's ever been. I'm sure in years past, thinking about the cost it takes to be on a TV screen, that's huge. But now, in 2022, with YouTube really leading the charge on being the big screen with connected TV, it's really become easier than ever to reach the prospects we need on the big screen. Okay, so I know you're thinking that's all well and good, but what about creative? And to talk through that, I want to just flag this really interesting trend that we've been seeing lately. Maybe some of you know it. It's called Be Real. You can see it skyrocketing in recent days on Google Trends here. And it's basically an app that, as you see on the screen here, you get a notification. You have to take an image of yourself. It takes a front-facing camera picture, a back-facing camera picture, and it posts it to all your friends. This movement is really, really interesting to me, and really it complements a lot of the research that we've been saying for quite a few years now, in that authentic and real is better than high production value. So we've proven this ourselves. We've run lots of experimentation on forgetting the polish. We actually know that unpolished outperforms professional marketing when it's done in a raw, real way. So it's not about polish. You don't have to have a state-of-the-art campaign. Even the campaign that we watched in the beginning wasn't necessarily high production value, but it was really there to tug at the heartstrings. So it does not need to be a professional shot to be on YouTube and to be impactful. Okay, so now that we have inspiration, it's time to turn that into action. We have two kind of different ways I want to highlight that. One is discovery. This is kind of our solution to in-feed. So similar to scrolling through Facebook, millions of people come to the discovery tab on Google and their feed on YouTube every single day. And you can also appear there with the same images, same dimensions that you use with Facebook, easily transportable to what we call a discovery ad with Google, which runs across all of our best media, including Gmail, YouTube, and the discovery feed. So this is I highlight this one because it's a really easy lift if you're already running social to try out discovery. It's a really high performing tactic that we've seen, which you can also add on things like forms. If you're not totally set up with your website, you can add a form and you can call prospects back or direct them elsewhere. The second thing I want to share on the right here is YouTube for action, we call it. And this is like, once you've inspired, there's still room to move people to action through video. In fact, we know it works really well. We'll show you a bit about that soon. And again, you can add on those lead forms if that's helpful for your business. Again, though, we come back to the creative being maybe an issue here. And so I want to show you something that's brand new that we released quite recently, just in the summer, around how we can make video at scale for you. So this is called a video creation tool. And we've seen, you can see an example here on the right. You just select a couple assets, you select the music, the text, and Google helps to create a ready-to-go video that you can run with YouTube action right from the creation of this asset. And it has been working. Advertisers who use video creation saw 44% higher performance from their action campaigns. So it's a great thing to try out, especially a really low lift, easy scalable solution. I'll show you just quickly how to access that in your Google Ads. If you go to your Google Ads account, go into tools and settings, all you do is click asset library, and then you'll see there a little create video button there, where you'll be able to select the different templates and customize your ad. We actually right now have holiday templates ready to go as well. So that's kind of why video is so important right now. It's the place we're being inspired, and we don't need to be polished or have production value to be impactful. And then video is also where we're coming to make key purchase decisions, as you heard, in the retail space, and could be where people are coming to compare different donation options that they have for this year. So making sure that we're there for consideration as well with things like ready to go templated videos. Showing up is way better than not being there at all. And these are really great solutions that we've proven work really well. And again, you only pay for this if someone's actually going to watch your ad or interact with it. So it's a really great place to start. And the last piece is, if you are running things like social, a really easy, scalable next step is to try out discovery across all of Google's media. Okay, and the last piece here, the last giving truth is that the time to give is now. We've seen this year after year. Our giving season, holiday season starts earlier and earlier. So Walmart released their toy guide in August, and Amazon released their gift guide in September and have had 2 Prime Day events. One, I believe, is right now. So they're trying to get ahead of the holiday demand as well. We see this also in how people are coming to search. So searches like Black Friday already growing by 300%. So this is a great time to be in front of customers, especially as they're evaluating purchase decisions and what they're going to plan to donate versus other buckets of their money or budget that they're going to spend. And in fact, 1 in 5 Canadians have already started holiday shopping, and 43% already have gifts in mind. The headline, here is, everything is not doom and gloom. There are people still searching. They want to come to Google and find the right gift. And donation is a great gift. And it's also great to be there and make sure that we're there before they evaluate anything else. Things like gift cards also enter last minute. They're kind of last minute lifesavers, but we're able to be there. Donation is a great last minute gift as well that is purposeful and that you can give for either yourself or a close family or friend. And making sure that we're there at the rush as a great last minute alternative is also a great option that you can use to position yourselves. And the last piece of why it's important to be there now, and by now I guess we're saying October because it is October now, is that November is a really competitive season. I'm actually going to skip here. What we see usually is that nonprofits are heading up in the last weeks of December. So we want to avoid the crowd and unlock efficiencies by starting your giving season campaigns actually at the end of October. So we're talking at a really good time now. You can see last year category demand began to peak during the week of Giving Tuesday, and that peak persisted for the next 2 weeks before falling the week of Christmas and rising again in the last week of the year. So the demand peak was only 35% higher than category demand levels seen in steady state before peak investment levels. Meanwhile, we didn't see that rise. We actually saw our highest levels in the final week of the year. So this is suggesting that advertisers are not investing to demand. There's an opportunity to be there when your competitors are not, to make sure that we're actually getting the most efficient media, and we're getting our biggest bang for our buck when our competitors are not. So rather than try to manufacture demand in the last weeks of the year, invest more heavily during more efficient times. So think about the last week before Thanksgiving. Again, we're talking at a great time here. So much of what we do here comes down to starting early to win early. We have a great timeline here to help kind of paint the picture of how we would suggest that you can leverage a full funnel strategy. Obviously, this starts in August here. Something to think about for next year is how we can plan even sooner, or maybe you already are. And then going into October, making sure that we're igniting demand and we're inspiring customers, and then we're driving donations, or sorry, donors, and driving donations towards November and December. So those are the 3 holiday giving secrets. 1, loyalty's up for grabs. Make sure that we're there in people's screens where they're coming to search, to make sure that we are top of mind. 2, video is king. It's the best media we have to drive change and to storytell. So make sure that we're on video. And lastly, the time to give is now. It's never too soon to start. We're seeing the season start earlier and earlier. So make sure that we're there at least by the end of October, starting to show up and getting in people's minds. So we make sure that they save enough budget for us. I want to save a lot of time for questions, but I'll pass it over to Ben for more information of where other helpful links are.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Corey. So I just want to take a second to share a few more detailed links for everybody here. And I think as Phil said up front, all these slides will be shared around, so you'll get a copy of these with the links embedded. There are a number of key links that we've listed are on the left-hand side. So the Google for Nonprofits Hub, this is where you can find all the different products included in the program and sign up for the ones that make sense for you. Google Skills Shop for Analytics and Google Analytics Academy. These are training tools for you to learn Google Analytics as a web tracking software on your website. Technically not part of the Google for Nonprofit suite, but it is an entirely free product, so we do encourage you to use it. And then Google Search Ads, or Google for Nonprofit Search Ads 101. This is one of the previous webinars that myself and another Googler did a while back now, but walking through how to get the most and how to get started really with your Google Search Ads account. If you have more questions, I do encourage that you check us out across all social media. So there's all of our tags and URLs there. Then also engage with the community. That link at the bottom for the support community. There are, as I mentioned earlier, over 350,000 nonprofits across the globe that are using Google for Nonprofit tools, and they engage with each other to share ideas, to ask each other questions. So I do suggest, again, checking out that community. It is a really great resource. I know we'll send out all of these slides, so you'll get all of the great insight and ideas that Corey shared as a follow-up. But I think that is it for the formal presentation. And I guess we can open up. We've got a few minutes left, so we can open up to any questions. As a reminder, in the box on the right, you should have the ability to input some questions. And those will come to myself and Corey, and we'll do our best to address those now. So far, I'm seeing one here from Beatrice. Thank you, Beatrice. Can you tell us more about Discovery and how to use it?
Yeah, great question. So Discovery is one of our newer display types. It goes across what we call like the best of Google. So if you go on your phone and go to the Google app, or if you're on an Android, have a Discover app, if you click there, you'll start to see some, and they just appear as just a regular display asset, like kind of what you see on Facebook, a Facebook ad. You can also find them if you go on YouTube, open up the YouTube app, you can see that there as well. They're basically just a static visual that uses the best of Google. And what I mean by that is the best formats, the best capabilities, so the best audience targeting, and the best automation, so the best matching to your goals. So for example, if you were to start a giving campaign, let's say, on Donate, a great place to give a gift today is through your charity and Donate. It would go across all media. You could target it to people looking to give gifts, and you can automate it to your goal. If your goal was for people to donate to your cause, or to learn more about a page on your website. So it's really the best of Google. You can find it if you go into add new campaign. You'll see it under Discovery is the campaign type.
Thank you, Corey, and thanks, Beatrice, for the question. The next question here is from Jordan. Is there a YouTube fundraising tools for nonprofits and charities in Canada? I didn't know the answer to this, but while Corey was answering the last one, I looked it up, and the answer is yes. You do have the ability to add in fundraising options directly onto your YouTube channel. So if you just search on Google for fundraising on YouTube, it'll take you to the support page that will walk you through all the details. Canada is one of the countries that is supported for that feature. There are some minimum requirements in terms of your the setup of your channel. So that is something to make sure you pay attention to, because it does have a minimum number of subscribers before you're eligible to use that. So make sure you check those details. But if you just Google that, you'll be able to find the step-by-step how-to online. Corey, I don't know if you have anything else to add on that one.
No, that's great.
All right. And those are the only questions I'm seeing right now in the question chat box. Oh, one more just came in. Thank you, Ian. I was wondering if videos created through the online platform for advertising can be downloaded and used in other contexts without connecting to the internet, for example, shown at an event.
So the question is, can you download a video created in the video creation tool I showed and use it elsewhere?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe you can. I'm not 100% sure. I can check on that and we can kind of send those a follow-up. I believe it creates a YouTube video, which then you could download if you want to. But I would have to double check.
Okay, that's one we can follow up on. Also, I'm curious because it looks really cool and I make very poor family videos and that will up my game significantly.
Yeah, definitely play around in the tool if you haven't seen it, because it is brand new and it's available to everyone. So it's a great tool. We see a lot of retailers use it when it was in beta, and now it's been released. So it works really well. Take a look.
Cool. So with that, I think we can wrap up. I might just highlight a few key things that I took away from listening to kind of Corey walk through the holiday giving secrets. First is that the idea of loyalty has changed a lot. And while people might be a little bit less loyal than they have in the past, that also opens up a lot of opportunities for all of you as nonprofits and charities to reach new people. Second, around video. Video is the medium of choice for so many consumers and potential donors and potential supporters out there. And we understand that this can seem a little intimidating or overwhelming because of that production challenge of creating the videos. But if you check out some of those tools that Corey was talking about, you can have really slick, professional looking videos done for free, and all you need to do is upload a few images and copy, and the tool takes care of it themselves for you. And the third is that really it's never too early to start. People are getting in the giving mindset and the holiday mindset earlier and earlier every year. The sooner you're out there, the sooner you lock in that support, whether it's donation or other activity, the better. And that's kind of the key to setting you up for success in what is often one of the most competitive times of the year. So get out there, get started, and hopefully you've taken away a few key insights from Corey and from the Google for Nonprofits tools that you can get using right away. Before we fully sign off, I do have one last quick note that when the presentation stops, you'll see a pop-up poll for Canada Helps, just asking you quick feedback on how you found the session today. We would really appreciate it if you take the time. It's entirely anonymous, doesn't get shared outside the presenters and the organizers, but it does help us make sure that the content we're preparing and the webinar curriculum that we develop in partnership between Google and Canada Helps is as suited as possible for what you're after. So the more feedback you're able to provide, the better these will be in the future. So we really thank you. Feedback is a gift. And on that, thank you to everyone for joining today. We really appreciate you spending the time with us. And as I said earlier, a huge thank you to Phil and the whole team at Canada Helps for being such great partners with Google and the Google for Nonprofits program. Have a great day, everybody.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you, Corey. And to everybody on the call, thank you for joining us. We'll keep the poll open for a few more minutes, but after that, we will close it up. And like mentioned, we will send out the recording and the slides shortly. Okay. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.